I've just walked from that bridge that you see right on the left side of the screen, which is the pedestrian bridge, along that inner road where the 1 number is, leading up to the big white spot, which is where the bus station is. And the church is number 14, and number 30 or number 11 is the mosque that I'll show you now. So this is the Greek Orthodox Christian church. Somewhat massive, but very, very plain in design, and no attempt other than a painting of the trim a bit to embellish it at all, which may or may not be characteristic of such churches. What gave me a clue, not this, I think that symbol I've seen before, maybe with regular Christian churches, I'm not sure, but rather on top here, how the cross is not exactly square at the end. A classic iconostasis. Very large, very ornate. Normally they have 3 sections, perhaps the one over here. And this cloister is one, and then the one big one in the nave, and then on the other side. I'm just going to pan these quickly. You can see, I don't know who this is, but obviously a Christian martyr, being either martyred, certainly subjugated. And of course, the gold halos represent the holiest of the holy men of the church, probably the 4 apostles. Usually the instruments they carry are some other accoutrement, like the archangel's wings, if that's who in fact it is, and maybe the rosary, help identify characters. This looks like the dividing up of Jesus' worldly goods. Here the actual crucifixion, of course. And here maybe the removal from the cross. The Last Supper, of course. But look at the detail in that. Imagine what that iconography means if you can interpret it. Mary, what looks like a centurion. There's still another over there. Remember, mosques, it's not the role of the exterior to be beautiful, and even the interior oftentimes is rather... Probably there's a considerable amount of beauty associated with what's on the underside of those domes. Antipatria was the original name of the original Illyrian fortress up on top. Sign going to the medieval center, I don't know if that means the castle, and there to the historic center, I don't know what that means. Another mosque, I'm not sure if we can get a better view of it or not. And this looks to be an old cistern. And my guess is that these buildings, particularly that one there, an older building, probably used for administrative church functions. Chickens and chick and a turkey. It's interesting, I'm assuming that these 2 purlins or joists up there that are curved, there's one there and then the third one down's curved, are probably natural, but they certainly look a lot like the ones you see in China, almost in every single building that uses such materials. I wonder if the fact that these are so heavily damaged reflects the different conquerors, if you will. And like the headstones of Kruya, these probably represent people who lived and maintained, maybe were the clerics of the mosque their entire lives. Maybe another cistern, conveniently located. Just an older building that seemed kind of interesting. Don't know how old it really is. So this mosque we've been looking at, I think, is the Sultan's Mosque. And then the building behind it that we looked at, that one is the... I'm inside the Tekke now, whatever it's for. Look at the size of the wood. Planking certainly seems original. These probably held various icons, maybe even sacred documents. And here what is supposed to be most startling is the wood-carved ceiling. Again, the beauty of a mosque is on the inside, not the outside. Other than the Blue Mosque, I think, in Krakow, most mosques aren't even that interesting. And I think those little places up there held probably lamps at one time. Those were just the chains that held them. You can see the decoration's very simple. This would be the window, or the symbol for the window, to Mecca for prayers 5 times a day. I'm not sure what this would be for, but maybe if this were used for teaching, as it appears to still be used for with these tables, that perhaps that's where teachers sat, or maybe the hierarchy of the church sat up there. Don't know. Let's take a look at the detail up there. Again, it means nothing to me, but a religion restricted to the use of symbols only and not animals or humans. You would think over time a rich history of icons becomes embedded. It's interesting that the concave design of the under balcony is with those red panels, but with some kind of an outline. The man pointed out as I was leaving the Stars of David, Davide, as well as a script I can't understand. Here would have given access to the balcony. Again, you can see that carving up there. Probably those were red also at one time. Don't know who resides here, but you certainly would think it'd be someone important. Now, it may be that the Sultan himself was underneath that stonework. And at one time was this entire little plateaued area that's now gardened, and in essence a cemetery. Certainly with the stairs there were other uses here, and that's a pretty elaborate bit of stonework, and it looks like a crypt. Very similar to, although far more elaborate than what you see out on the hillsides. Now over there are 2 shops that look identical. They're very small, each one of them. The one on the right, the one on the left. They both have pastries in the front window and seem to have the same stuff inside, all in a very compacted small space. I just noticed this building, which was further on in my initial walk, past the bus stop, for lack of a better term, that there is the University of Berat. It's a very nice building, just seemingly plopped down on its own relatively small plot. Being restored now, it looks like. Hope so, because it looks good. I'll go take a closer look. This is an example of the old work. It's stripped off and getting to restore. The walls look like they've been replastered. So it's all being restored, and that's nice. A good university is important. But the irony of it is, These kids go to school, but there's no opportunities. There's no jobs here. All they can hope for is that somehow there's enough cred from these universities to get them out of the country anywhere else. In the Balkans, anywhere where there's more opportunity. That's a sad dilemma. Seen it in Mexico. 10 years ago, it's probably still the same. The literature suggests when you get outside the core of the town, you get to these megalithic apartment buildings, but at least they're nicer looking than many of the ones you see in Tirana, and certainly anything built by the communists. Notice the classic Skanderbeg helmet design on top. That insignia of the eagle, I think it is, without spread wings. Another view of the castle. Don't know what this is or what it might have been, but it was something. Nicely done. I have no idea what this building is. Looks Roman, but who knows.